Building your keyword list. In this lesson, you're going to discover how to actually start building your keyword list that you're going to use when creating your listing. So the Helium 10 Cerebro tool makes this very easy to do. You can also use this for your launch and advertising, and Mike will be covering this in modules 6 and 7. Now, you can use other Amazon keyword tools if you have access to them, if you prefer them. However, Cerebro does make this super fast and easy. So let's go and take a look and start building our keyword list. So before we get started, I'm going to be using this product as an example for building a keyword list, and we're also going to use it when we create our listing as an example to show you how it all works. So for the sake of this training, we're going to assume I'm selling this particular product. Now, the beauty of using the Helium 10 Cerebro tool is we don't even need to start with a keyword. In fact, all we need is the ASIN number, which is right here, of the product. Now, for you, what you need to do is either recreate the search you did when you were adding competing products, and then use Jungle Scout to sort them all in order, and you want to take the ASIN of the number one competing product, which is going to actually be your primary product. So we're going to assume I've done that, and then we're going to go to Helium 10, and I'm going to click on Cerebro. You can see it's the fourth one down, and then where it says product ASIN up here, I'm going to paste the ASIN in, and then you have two choices. You can go and find another 5 or 6 competing products. In other words, you look at Jungle Scout, see which the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh competing products are, or you can use Helium 10 itself. Now, I recommend you do both of these to see which gives you the best results. But for this training, I'm just going to click on Get Competitors over here on the right. Now, it's going to pull a whole bunch of competitors, and you basically just want to choose the ones that are closest to your product. So you can see the top row, they're all freestanding bicycle pumps. Mine's a mini frame-mounted bike pump. And this is the first one that's kind of close to ours, so I'm going to click on it. And you can see up here it says 1 out of 10 selected. Then this one here looks very similar to ours. So that's 2. Here's another one that's 3, 4, 5. This one's freestanding, 6. And that's enough. Normally if you add 5 or 6 competing products to the primary product that you've put into this list, it's going to be enough. And to be quite honest, a mini bike pump isn't the best example. You should, for the most part, be seeing all very, very similar products to yours. So once I've clicked on the 6 out of 10, I'm going to click Close. And you can see it's actually imported the 6 ASIN numbers of the products I clicked on. Now, as I said, you can go and use Jungle Scout and actually pull them yourself, and you just paste them in here one at a time. So once you've got your ASINs in here, whether you've done it using Get Competitors or adding your own, you just want to click on Reverse Search. And as you can see, it's pulling the images in of the ASINs we use, but I'm just going to scroll down a little bit. First thing we're going to do is we're going to increase the word count. We want this to be at least 2, so we put minimum of 2 because we don't want single words. Because as you will see, Frankenstein's going to do that for us anyway. But then I click Apply. You can see we've now got 3,900 keywords. That's way too many. We're not going to need that many. But what you will find with Cerebro, although it is an amazing tool, it's going to pull in a lot of totally irrelevant keyword searches. We are going to remove them, and we can do that either at this stage or we can do it when we're in Frankenstein. The next thing I'm going to do is click on Exact Search Volume, and what this does is it actually sorts all these keywords by the highest number of searches for that exact keyword. Now, it's not incredibly accurate, and you will see some anomalies along the way, but it's accurate enough that it gives us a good indicator of which keywords are the most popular in terms of traffic. Now, one thing I probably haven't mentioned yet, which I should have mentioned, is basically what Cerebro does. It takes all those ASINs and it goes and finds the keywords they are using. So what we're essentially doing is we're using our highest ranked competitors to go and find keywords that we can use on our own listing. Now, depending on your product, the number of keywords you see could vary quite a lot. However, that is not something you need to worry about too much, because as you're going to see, as long as you use 4 or 5 competing ASINs, you will have enough keywords to create your listing. Now, as I said, at this point, you can go through and delete any irrelevant keywords from this list inside of Cerebro. However, what you'll see if we look at these, a lot of these keywords contain words that are in other keywords. And the beauty of using Frankenstein is it's going to remove them for us, because what we want is to see all the best single words that are part of keywords that get the most traffic. So right now we've sorted all these keywords in order of the highest number of exact searches. So instead of going through and deleting all these one by one, and you can do that if you wish, I'm actually going to export them right now straight into Frankenstein. To do that, I just need to scroll up to the top, and where it says export, click on it, and then you'll see CSV XL to Frankenstein and copy to clipboard. First of all, I do recommend you download the CSV, because then you have a permanent record in CSV form of this search, and it's definitely something you can use later. So I'm going to click on CSV and click OK, and because there's such a huge number of keywords, it's going to take a little while for it to export them all, and we'll see it in the bottom left hand corner the minute it actually completes downloading, and there it goes. So I now have that CSV file, and you can see it's called grid-export and then 6 inside brackets. All the search exports in CSV form inside Helium 10 have that same name. So you could go and rename it bike pump keywords or whatever your product is. And so you've got a permanent record, and you can always upload that to Sheets. But I'm going to click on export again, and I'm going to click to Frankenstein, and it's going to export all of those keywords into Frankenstein. You can see them all here. It's telling us 65,000 characters and a total of 11,501 words, and they're all down here. But what we're going to do is we're going to strip out all the duplicates and put them onto the right hand side here, and it's going to do it for us. If I scroll down a little bit so we can see all the options, you basically want to leave them as default. The only difference I'm going to make is I'm going to check the box for one word phrase per line, and the minute I do that, you can see it's put them all in order down the page. You can see the first keyword is actually tire pressure gauge, and it's put that tire pressure and gauge on a separate line, and the same for all the rest. But here's the really clever thing. Right now these words are in order of the highest number of exact searches for the individual keywords. So in other words, tire pressure gauge, bike light, mountain bike. But we can take this a step further and click on the frequency tab up here in the top right. And now what it's done, it's actually showing us the words that appear the most in all of these keywords. So not only do we know they're high traffic keywords, we also know the bike appears more than any other word in all of those keywords. And that's really important. And this is the order we want it in. Now, the next step is, I'm going to warn you, a little bit boring and time consuming. And that is, we're going to go and remove any words in here that we don't think are applicable to our product. In other words, relevant to our product. For the most part, a lot of them will be relevant, but we're just going to get rid of the ones that aren't. And we're going to remove words like for. So I've highlighted it, and I'm going to delete it by just hitting the delete key. Keep pressure, mini, gauge, mountain, tool, valve. Tool's a bit suspect, but at the end of the day, a pump is a tool. And the beauty of this is we're not necessarily going to use these in the exact order they come up in. So I'm going to keep going down. Water has nothing to do. That's probably come from water pump. Road is fine because it's a road bike. Repair, hand. Hand I'm going to remove because I think it comes from hand pump. At the end of the day, my product's a mini bike pump. I have never seen an automatic mini bike pump, so I'm going to remove it. This is probably on the borderline. I could just as easily leave it in, but I'm just going to delete it. Portable's good. BMX. Hose. I don't think hose is applicable, so I'm going to get rid of it. Inflator's quite an interesting one. If you'd have told me before I ever did searches on a bike pump that inflator is another word for a pump, like it would not have occurred to me to use that, but people do use it, so I'm leaving that in. Frame, I'm leaving that in because my pump is frame mounted. Tools is fine, we're going to get rid of with. Presta is actually a type of valve, and the bike pump I am pretending to sell for the sake of this training is compatible with Presta, and the other one is Schrader, and we'll see that in a minute. MTB just stands for mountain bike. I'm going to get rid of it. Men, I'm getting rid of that. Tube, I guess it's an inner tube in a tire. I've got a funny feeling I'm not going to use that, but I'll leave it in for now. Ball. Now this one's interesting. If we look at the listing that I'm pretending is mine, and for now this is the one I'm going to use, I might switch to another one when we actually start writing the titles, but you can see there's no mention of the fact that it can inflate sports balls like rugby balls, football, soccer balls, whatever. So I might be thinking, well, I don't want ball. But here's the thing, just remember, it's your product. You should know everything about your product and know whether it does inflate balls. And I'm pretty sure this one does. So I'm going to scroll down and actually look at the description, see if it says anything in there. And you can see there, sports needle, inflates sports balls. So we're good. That's a good keyword for this product. So we'll go back to Frankenstein, leave ball in. Washer, that has nothing to do with our product. Compressor, has nothing to do with our product. And gas actually comes from a keyword that's for a CO2 tire inflator, and it's actually, in other words, an automatic one. You don't have to pump it yourself. Get rid of that. Travel is absolutely useless. That's not it. Mountain is good. Tires, wheel, parts. Parts is probably not a great keyword, but I'll leave it there for now. Shorts is definitely not. Power, we don't need power because there's no power involved in our bike pump. Adapter is a good one because it has adapters for dealing with the different valves. Pedals, it's not very good. Small, I'm going to leave it in because it is a mini bike pump. Backpack we can get rid of. Light, I think, refers to a bike light, so I'm going to get rid of that. Pumps is fine. Gear, I don't particularly like gear or high. I don't think any of those are applicable. Cycling's fine. Bar, I'm going to leave bar in there. I'm not sure why it's there. I think it's a measure of pressure, and it could also be the crossbar on a bike. Maybe somewhere where the pump could be mounted, but we'll leave it there. Cart, I'm going to remove the word remove. Emergency, now I know my pump's got a repair kit, so I guess we could use emergency repair kit. I'm going to remove and. Metal, it's made of metal. Bracket is how it's mounted, that's fine. Flat is for flat tire. We'll get rid of. Grips, I'm going to get rid of that. I don't think that's applicable. Needle, it's got a needle for the sports ball, as we mentioned earlier. Stem, I don't think that works. Patch is part of the repair kit it comes with. If we take a quick look, you can see it's got the patch repair kit. Pool probably relates to pool toy. I'll get rid of that. Saw, got no idea what that's got in there. Men's, we don't need that. Slide, don't need that. Pedal, we don't need that. So I'll get rid of those three. Pro, I'm going to leave pro in there because it could be a pro bike pump. Picture, we don't need that. Kits, I'll leave in for now. Bag, it doesn't come in a bag. Bottles, no good. Dirt, I think it's for dirt bike, and a dirt bike is not the type of bike our pump works with. Balls, I'm going to leave it there for now. Some misspelling here of gauge. I'm going to remove all misspellings for our initial listing. Misspellings are something you can look at later on, but misspellings is something we use more in advertising. Cycle is fine. Grip, again, I don't think that's any good. Floor probably corresponds to a floor pump, and I may want to put in a description is more portable than a floor pump. So I'm going to leave floor in there. Rain is not. Electric, now that could apply to an electric pump, but it could also apply to an electric bike, which our pump is compatible with. Can, we can get rid of that. And 2. Foot, maybe if it was floor mounted, we might use foot. Car, we don't need. Handle, we don't need. Although handle, I'm just wondering now if that's something that might come up. I'm going to leave it in for now. Get rid of in. Inflatable, I'm going to get rid of because we don't want to really talk about this pump for inflatable pool toys, even though it says it in the description. It's something we might use later, but I'm going to get rid of it. I don't actually know many people that would use a hand pump to pump up a huge inflatable pool toy. The word no, we'll get rid of. Schrader, this is the other valve. Replacement, I'm going to get rid of it. In fact, I'm going to leave it in because it sounds like a good word. I'm just not sure how it applies to our pump. And that may become more clear when we actually start writing the title and the bullet points in the description. So I'll leave it in. Wood, definitely not. Tubes, it's the plural of tube for the inner tube. I don't know whether that's going to be used or not. Again, this is the kind of word that if this was your product, you would know. Gadgets, I don't think that's relevant. Basketball might be, so I'm going to leave it in there for now. So you see basically what I'm doing. I'm scrolling through all these and I'm removing words that don't make any sense. Now, we're not going to do it for the whole 730 words. We're going to keep going down till all of a sudden we notice that a lot of the words are not relevant. And at that point, that's where we're going to stop. But I'm going to pause the video and carry on. Now, I've got down as far as this word, to peak. And that's actually, I'm pretty sure, is a brand. So I'm going to copy that word. We're going to go to Amazon. I'll just open a new tab so we don't lose that product listing. I'm going to paste it in and hit search. And sure enough, there we go, Topeak Roadmorph G Mini Pump. So you can see it's a big brand, but the fact they do types of bike pumps means we're not going to use it. So I'm going to jump back to Frankenstein and we're going to delete. So you can see I've got a huge number of words here that just aren't relevant. And Nash Bar, this one at the top, by the way, is another brand of bike pump, but I'm going to delete these. And at this point, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to find anything else. I think we've got enough. And at this point, basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the rest and delete. Now, I could have taken another 5 minutes and gone through all of these, but just for the sake of the training, I'm going to stop now. You should go through them all. It doesn't take that long to go through them all. And now you can see we've got all these. So the first thing we're going to do before we do anything else is click on save. It's going to download all those words as a text file. Now at this point, it would be nice if we could have them all in a paragraph form so we could see them all together. And to do that, all I need to do is select them all. Or I could just open the text file that's just been downloaded, copy, go back to our original list, select all again, and then paste to replace them all, and then check the add only spaces button. And now we've got all the keywords we want to use in a nice paragraph format, and we're ready to go. So that is essentially how you're going to create your keyword list. This is quite a lot of keywords. I've got a lot here to work with. Now we're probably going to try and use all of these if we can. We're definitely not going to use them all in the title because that's restricted, which we'll find about in the next lesson. We'll be able to use some of them in the bullet points, probably not all. The rest we'll be able to put in the description for sure. And then we'll also be looking at the back end search terms too. But those all come in later lessons, but that's how you're going to build your list. Now, there are multiple ways of doing this, as you can see. Me personally, I think this is the fastest and easiest way to do it. And again, when you're at this point, you could save again to save it in this paragraph format if you wished. Just remember that you can always come back, even if it's in the long form, paste it in here and then check the add only spaces box and it'll put them back. So once again, you can do this different ways. I could have gone and deleted all the keywords one by one inside of Cerebro, but that takes a hell of a long time, because you remember I had like 4,000 keywords to work with. I could have gone down and removed X amount from the bottom, but you never really know exactly how many keywords you're going to have. Doing it this way, you can actually see exactly what you've got. So we covered how to build your keyword list, and take your time over this. If you get anywhere near the number of words that you saw that I got, you're doing a great job. If you need more keywords, then try doing other searches by all means. But if you follow what I've done just here, you should have enough keywords. And then in the next lesson, you will discover how to create a traffic grabbing title using some of these keywords. But that's it for this lesson. Take care.